This is Nick Baisley from FilmSnobbery, and I'm here at the Palm Springs Shorts Festival here in, well, Palm Springs. So who am I here with?
I'm Mauricio Osaki. I'm a filmmaker from Brazil, and I have a short film here in the competition that was shot in Vietnam.
Wow. So Brazil, Vietnam, what's the movie called?
My Father's Truck is the first time I'm showing a festival in the US, and I'm very glad to be here.
Yeah, and you're here. You get to represent the film, and you're in competition. That's fantastic. What's the film about?
My Father's Truck is a film about father and daughter, and is also a film that talks about generation conflict, and is set in the north of Vietnam, in Hanoi. Yeah.
Now, as a Brazilian filmmaker, what made you decide, hey, I want to go set a film in Vietnam?
Yeah. I actually got a scholarship to study at New York University, and they have a campus in New York, of course, and another campus in Singapore. So I was doing my MFA in Singapore, and Vietnam is just 2 hours far from there. And we made a group trip there, and traveling around the countryside of Vietnam, I realized that it was very similar to the countryside of Brazil. And then I was just in love with the people, the landscapes, and I decided to write a script to set there.
That's great. And as far as the script itself, I mean, where did you get the idea from? I mean, is it has to do with like your culture in Brazil, where family's important over there and or down there, right?
Yeah, my family is all in Brazil, and I grew up traveling in Brazil as well. So I want to make my idea is to make a road movie in Vietnam. And for me, what was really important to get the idea is that how I see my experience in Asia. I want to make a film that would bring to the public like what's my experience traveling in Asia for the first time and knowing the country. So I started researching the newspapers and traveling around Vietnam. I realized how the country has this conflict about like the old, the ancient culture with the new, the changes, the dynamic of Asia nowadays. And I want to have in my short film this dynamic about old and new. And then I try to portray that throughout a father and a young daughter traveling around the countryside.
You know, FilmSnobbery.com is obviously we work with independent filmmakers. My question to you is that what is the independent film culture like in other countries like Vietnam or Brazil? I mean, do they have a film culture there, or is it, do you kind of have to go back to the United States in order to really experience it as we are now?
No, I think everything out of the studio system in the US somehow is kind of independent. In Brazil and also in Vietnam, the local filmmakers, they live like with some financial support from the government and like independent fundraising, like internet, friends. You have like a job on the side, like you work in TV, advertisements, and then you try to do your films with your friends when you have time. So yeah, there's a culture of independent filmmaking, and also nowadays with internet, we can get a lot of stuff online. We can watch what they're doing here in the US, what they're doing in Europe, in Asia. So I think it's easy nowadays.
One of the questions we were asking was about independent filmmaking, people that go to film school, and they, you've gone for your MFA. What don't they teach you in film school? What are the things you're like, man, I really wish they told me that, especially now that I'm out with a movie?
Yeah, I think like in film school you practice, you have your colleagues, but when you go to the real world, like when you are like in another country shooting, dealing with the actors, like the day life of shooting, that's impossible to get in the film school. In the film school, you just work with your friends, and then when you go to a real set, you're dealing with other people, other cultures. Sometimes an actor gonna tell you, "I'm not doing a second take," and you need to get somehow, and then you learn day by day, like shooting and facing this challenge of the film.
Did you, when you were making this, first of all, I should say, how did you make this movie? I mean, monetarily, how did you raise the funds? How did you actually get into production? Because you're working, not in the United States, and not probably with a lot of friends and family. You're in a foreign country, far away from Brazil, and how did you kind of get everything together, which seems like kind of on a short notice as well?
Yeah, I think one of the advantages of we have nowadays is like equipment. Film equipment like 20 years ago would be like heavy cameras, have sound. Nowadays, I shot with a camera named Red Epic, and then even with the lenses, it's the weight's like 5-6 kilos. You can put in a backpack, and then the sound equipment is all digital as well. You can have in another backpack. So with like 5 or 6 colleagues in your class, you can travel to these countries with backpacks, with the equipment, and you can shoot the film. And regarding like fundraising, I mean, we try like NYU gives us some budget, but then Friends, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, all these tools that are available for us, we need to try to use everything. And also, the advantage of being a film school is that you don't really pay crew because they're your colleagues. So the way you pay them is work to then their next project. So it's a kind of exchange.
You're here at the Palm Springs Shorts Fest. Why did you choose to submit here, and how are you enjoying your time here so far?
I had the world premiere of my short in the Berlin International Film Festival back in February, and then I talked to the programmers there of Palm Springs, and also I knew one of the programmers. She was a lecture professor at NYU. Her name is Kathleen McInnes, and she's part of Palm Springs. Have a very good relationship with her.
Shout out for her.
And then, we talked, and I think was the best place to start the career of the film in the U.S. here. I mean, there are loads of other filmmakers. There are panels. There are like master classes. It's a very interesting selection, and I thought it would be great to start here.
Fantastic. Are you taking this film to another festival after this, or are you? What's your plans?
Yeah, the film now this week is being shown in Israel as well. Then you're gonna go to Canada, also to Brazil and another film festivals in Europe. So it's going on now.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for stopping by and giving us a little bit of time with you. I'm excited to hear you're traveling around the world with this, and it's being very well accepted. It seems like, and it's kind of, you have a very innovative way of creating. You obviously have dynamic locations and story that people seem to be responding to. So congratulations on being here, and thank you very much for talking with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and I'm very glad to be here. And I think I'm talking to other filmmakers here. And it's more or less what everyone is doing, like trying to get friends, like light equipment, and try to tell their stories. And it's what I'm trying to do.
Fantastic. Well, continue telling stories. Keeps me in business. I appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Thank you.